The D.C. region has some of the most uninsured drivers when it comes to car insurance, and that can cost you. Tips on what to do if you get into an accident with somebody who is not carrying insurance. Consumer alert for you this morning. Car insurance rates are growing at a, quote, unprecedented rate, according to a recent J.D. Power analysis. And D.C. ranks in the top 10 list of uninsured drivers. Maryland's in the top 20, Virginia top 50. Joining me now, personal injury attorney Fred Balkin to share on how we can save all around. Fred, good to see you this morning. I appreciate you joining us.
Good to see you, Steve.
So before we talk about the uninsured motorists, what's the reason for the rates going up so much? Everybody's seeing these higher rates when it comes time to renew.
Well, it's certainly true, Steve. Post-COVID, we're seeing a much higher incidence of really serious accidents, which is resulting in much higher dollar claims to people and property, which are being presented to insurers. And it's really getting to the point where insurers are paying out more more dollars towards claims than they're taking in premiums, which is resulting in substantial premium increases. With actually in Maryland, we saw an 8% increase in premiums in 2023, and we're actually expecting higher increases in 2024.
So this is where, obviously, the financial aspect is one thing, right? But this is where it gets a little tricky and starts to impact more people, because a lot of people will see those higher premiums come in and their policy, so they'll look to cut costs, and they'll eliminate some coverage that they might have had before. How does that impact everybody else?
Well, that's absolutely true, Steve, and that's really what the heart of the problem is. I mean, as you know, with inflationary pressures and budgetary concerns right now, people are needing to pick and choose at times, what bills they're able to pay each month. And unfortunately, auto insurance at times seems to be at the bottom of that list. And as a result, we are really seeing a higher incidence of uninsured drivers or underinsured drivers in the state of Maryland. I think you showed a statistic just a few seconds ago. I mean, it's estimated that 14% of all licensed drivers in Maryland were actually uninsured. And when you consider we're talking about 4 to 5 million licensed drivers in Maryland alone, I mean, you could be looking at over 500,000 people that are driving around, either without auto insurance or underinsured.
So in as simple terms as possible, because this is something obviously could get very complicated, or we could talk for hours on it.
Right.
If somebody hits us and they're not carrying that insurance, what happens? What do we do? What can we do about it?
So in Maryland, those of us that are insured are required to carry what we call uninsured, underinsured coverage. So it's very, very important that we all look at our declaration page of our policy. It's the page that shows us what our auto insurance coverages are. And we ensure that, we are adequately insured. Here at Stein Sperling, we recommend a minimum of $300,000 in underlying uninsured, underinsured coverage. And then on top of that, an umbrella of $1 million that would extend to this type of coverage.
In fairness, I mean, please go look at your policy. Everything is individual for every individual person.
Right.
Some of these things really don't add that much money to what you're paying out, but can save you a lot of hassle. And quite honestly, keep people, no offense to you, but keep people from coming to have to deal with you if they get in the accident. I want to ask you something real quick, because there's been obviously so much talk recently with the stolen vehicles, the carjackings, everything else. And a lot of times these vehicles, your car is stolen, it's then trashed or something happens to it. Is that covered? Like, how does that typically work then with our insurance if somebody takes our car and then trashes it?
Well, actually, Steve, it's a good question. And it is in part also a reason why everybody's auto premiums are increasing, because the reality is yes, we are covered for auto theft under our policy, and it's our, insurers that are paying for that. And that all adds up and continues to compound the problem of increasing insurance rates.
Just keeps adding up and adding up for everybody. Bottom line,
yes,
though,
it does.
Check the policy there. If you have any questions, find somebody like Fred, whoever you want to work with to get those questions answered. But it is a problem that is impacting everybody out there. I hope everybody stays safe. Fred, I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you very much, Steve, for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it as well.